Today, the Snobsoft BBS from Hamburg is moving into the living room and waiting. And 4,000 miles away, a Commodore 64 User from Ohio is trying to call it.
We're sorry, your call cannot be completed as dialed. Please check the number and dial again.
Recently, Snobsoft user Droidmike came up with the idea of calling the 40-year-old Commodore 64 BBS from his hometown in Ohio, USA via modem. I immediately got excited about his idea and we started planning a date, as I still had some preparations to make. There was a bit of back and forth until we both found a free time. Droidmike also had some arrangements to take care of. But sometime later, the moment had arrived. Since I wanted to film everything, the BBS moved into the living room, where I could capture everything perfectly at a glance, together with the big TV. And since I'm already in the process of setting everything up again, I thought I'd make a detailed commentary, filming what it takes in 2025 to run a fully functional Commodore 64 BBS alongside all the modern VoIP tech, and showing in detail how everything is set up and connected. And here, I've already held the really pretty Aldi C64 up to the camera. The one I got as a gift from Snobsoft user Dietmar. It's now the heart of Snobsoft since my 1983 Commodore 64 unfortunately gave up the ghost. At the user port, it's already equipped with the G-Link LT interface from GG Labs, which is necessary for modem operation. Of course, the bread box needs power too. And here it is, the Device 8 Snobsoft floppy. Very stylish, very reliable, and unfortunately, very expensive on eBay. Back then, I didn't have the generous Snobsoft supporters yet. Here comes the power cable for the floppy. The serial data cable. This stuff is always a bit fiddly. Where does it go again? Even though you've probably done it many, many times. Especially early in the morning while I'm setting this up, my brain often doesn't work properly.
You shall not pass!
What was that? Gandalf, of course. My new favorite floppy. Perfect as a second BBS 1541 for device 9 with the corresponding switch. Yet another generous gift from Dietmar. That one's getting some juice now too. What's still missing? Of course, the connection with a serial cable from floppy device 8 to Gandalf, the 9. Also missing, my accuracy when it comes to the socket. But as I said before, you know how it is. It's still early in the morning and all. Okay, let's move over to the other side of the BBS setup. Then I'll bring out the gem that's absolutely essential for the actual connection, especially when Droidmike calls from the USA tomorrow. Exactly, my US robotics modem, which has proven itself as a fantastic BBS modem. A huge thank you once again to coding genius Grupaz, who rewrote the BBS for Hayes compatibility. Without him, this whole project would have been nothing, just as you can relive in detail in Making of Snobsoft, for those who haven't seen the video yet. I'll link it below this clip. Where did I put my data cable for the modem? Always the same search. Now onto the interface. Yeah, everything here is always a bit fiddly, but it needs to connect perfectly, 100%. By now, I'm connecting many components with Snobsoft helpers. This TAE cable was gifted to me by Retro Rentner at the very beginning of the project. Very kind of that forum C64 User, who was also incredibly helpful during the Snobsoft comeback. What are these connectors called again? Western? There are 1,000 different types, and according to Murphy's Law, you always grab the wrong cable. But this one fits. Somehow, setting up the BBS is really fun for me, especially when everything works and I can piece it all together correctly from memory right away. But I can well imagine that this video could also be helpful for me in the future if I get stuck at some point. And I hope that watching it is interesting for you as well. Now I'll bring out the bridge that connects the 40-year-old BBS dinosaur to the present. The Fritzbox 7270V3. Christian, the founder and coder of Snobsoft, told me, I believe, that it's important to use the yellow port all the way to the left, meaning LAN 1. Exactly. He was extremely helpful with the Fritzbox setup. The TAE plug from the Snobsoft modem now goes into the FON2 port of the Fritzbox, and another step in bringing the old BBS Stingray into the present is complete. Now I'm taking a standard LAN cable which, as mentioned, goes into LAN 1. Quite a lot of cable clutter has already piled up, hasn't it? Now onto the most modern component of the entire BBS setup, the one that connects the Stone Age Commodore 64 BBS technology with the fiber-optic internet space age, the brand new Fritzbox 7530. The LAN cable from the Fritzbox 7270V3 goes into a free LAN port here. And now, back again 40 years with this buddy here, a Wählscheibentelephon in Bundespost mouse grey is, of course, a must-have. The TAE plug goes into the second free analog telephone port of the Fritzbox 7270V3 into FON 1. That's why I chose this older Fritzbox, as it still has 2 of these old analog ports. Plus, it was available for just a few euros on eBay. Now power for the modem. And the same for the Fritzbox. while we watch it boot up, blinking away. The detailed configuration of both Fritz boxes can be found at the very end of Making of Snobsoft, which, as mentioned, is linked below the video. Booting the Fritz box can take a few minutes. If everything has been configured correctly, you should hear a dial tone when you pick up the analog phone. I was a bit too hasty here and initially heard nothing. You could see this because the internet light didn't turn on when I first picked up the receiver. Now the second light is on, and you can hear the continuous tone. Everything is correctly configured, and if Droidmike were to call the BBS now, you would hear the ringing of the rotary phone. And speaking of the BBS, it can't pick up yet, as it hasn't even been loaded into the C64. And of course, let's first connect the breadbox to the big TV. And now, the ultimate expert tip that only a decades-long C64 user can give: don't forget to turn on all the devices. Here's disk 1 of the BBS. It goes into floppy drive 8. And disk 2 is entrusted to Gandalf. Side B. All right. Straight to the iconic blue startup screen of the Commodore 64 to load the BBS directory. There it is. And the same thing again with Gandalf on device 9. Here on disk 2, there are particularly many entries, including various help files. So every time you enter help or a question mark in the different menus of Snobsoft, Gandalf starts up. Okay, everything is set up and correctly connected. Now it's just a matter of loading the Snobsoft BBS. Previously, the file was simply called box. Now, since the already mentioned Hayes modification by Gropaz, Hayesbox is loaded, abbreviated here with asterisk. This is taking quite a while because not only is the main program being loaded into the C64's memory, but also the entire over 100 blocks long user list. That's also the reason why it stops after exactly 824 user entries, and many today's users can't immediately register, receiving the message user list full. Snobsoft has had a lot of entries since 1985, and with the new registrations since the Snobsoft comeback, the 40-year-old user list has completely overflowed. But I can usually manage to free up a bit of space. So feel free to reach out to me at the300baudguy@gmail.com if you want to register anew. Please send any other inquiries to this email address as well, like for example from Snobsoft veteran users like Vandal, who, unlike him, no longer remember their 40-year-old password. Anyone wanting to support the Snobsoft project can also reach me there. Donations in any kind are very welcome as well. If you happen to have small items you'd like to part with, from, for example, your Jaguar XJ220.
Always wanted to do, I'm going to review the XJ220.
Or if you're female and resemble Loretta.
Okay.
It's okay.
Or Karina, feel free to reach out. Everything at once works too. Loretta and Karina in a Jaguar XJ220. As you can see, I am very modest. Okay, where were we? The BBS is loading, still going. By the way, I've received many questions about the BBS name Snobsoft, what it means, and how I came up with it. Interestingly, Snobsoft has caused some amusement in the English-speaking world, partly because the term snob isn't exactly positive. The same is true in German, but the name wasn't my creation. I planned to ask Christian, who chose the name Snobsoft for his BBS 40 years ago, how he came up with it back in 1985. He actually explained it to me a while ago, but I've forgotten. Maybe I should make an FAQ video where I answer all these kinds of questions. So the BBS is loaded. What might look like a crash is actually just the normal startup screen of the program. Here we go. Now let's check whether the modem is properly initialized. Looking good. The modem's indicator lights are cheerfully blinking away. It's responding. Everything is running smoothly. Droidmike can call in. Though following Murphy's Law, a LAN cable could have come loose, preventing a successful call. That's why it's a good idea to quickly dial the BBS number to check. Okay, works. Of course, the BBS won't start up now since there's no call modem or carrier tone, but at least you can hear the Snobsoft modem, which just picked up and is happily chirping away. Now everything is truly working at 100%. Since there's about a day left until Mikey calls tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. German time, I'll send him this checklist. There are many details to watch out for, and if they're overlooked, things could go completely wrong. It ended up taking one more day after all. Tuesday morning in Germany. Hamburg is waking up. The Snobsoft BBS is already raring to go, eager for action. Meanwhile, 4,000 miles away in the USA, it's still late at night. But someone in Ohio is wide awake and full of energy. Go for it, Mikey.
Good evening, or should I say good morning, in Germany. This is Mikey from German BBS, and today we're going to attempt a connection to Snobsoft BBS from the United States all the way to Germany. As you can see, I'm going to use a Commodore 64 computer, original Commodore 64 computer with a Commodore modem, the 650, the 1650 model. The box is over here in my little 80s cavern here, but we have a little twist. So the 1650 model does not use touch tone dialing, only pulse dialing. And of course, modern phone systems are not capable of recognizing that. I do have an adapter kit that I'm working on, but I have not finished it in time for this project. So we're going to have to do something very funky and different. We need to establish a 300 baud connection to Snobsoft, and then we will kick it in from the modem. But we need another device to establish that 300 baud connection. And if you try to use another more modern modem, it'll always try to connect to a higher setting instead of going to the lower setting. So you need a device that has only 300 BPS or 300 baud capability. And I do have such a device. It is an old paper terminal that was used by business people. They would take it on business trips, connect to the phone line in their hotel, and connect to the computers at work via 300 baud connection. This was both an acoustic coupler and regular phone line connection. We're just going to use the phone line connection. So I will establish a connection through this machine, and then once we're connected, I will switch there's a phone line. There's a line that goes to the modem that normally should be where the phone is, and switch from phone to data, and then you will see the data start to come on the Commodore 64 screen. We're using CCGMS as the terminal software. For this, it's not as good as ComTerm, but it's perfect for 40 column mode, and it should work well. So we are just now waiting for the okay to go ahead, which should occur in about an hour. In the meantime, I'm going to do some further testing, and once we get the okay, we will resume recording. See you soon. Okay, I just got the go ahead, so we're going to dial and connect on this machine and then switch over and hope it works. So I'm going to move the camera over here so that for the sake of privacy, you might want to mute this next session, because I am going to enter in the number and we'll hear the tones. So we got dial tone. Let's hope this works.
Der Teilnehmer ist im Moment nicht erreichbar, wird aber per SMS über Ihren Anruf informiert. Vielen Dank für Ihren Anruf und
Oh, my first attempt failed. So let's try again. I think I may have missed a number. Whoop. Oh. There we go.
we're sorry, your call cannot be completed as dialed. Please check the number and dial again.
Okay, one more time.
Meanwhile, in Hamburg, still no call from Droidmike at the scheduled time. I'm starting to get restless and check my email. And lo and behold, problems. The BBS number might not even be reachable from the USA. The thought flashes through my mind, and all the effort might have been for nothing. The phone number is actually a rather complicated forwarding setup to my actual Hamburg number, which might not be suited for international use. Thankfully, Snobsoft Christian had kindly provided and set all of this up for me. The only chance to get this up and running after all is if Mikey somehow mistyped the BBS number. I'm just about to suggest he check it, and also see if I sent him the correct number when the relieving message arrives. And just as I was about to write him the reply email, the long-awaited, equally relieving ring from the USA comes through.
Okay, looks like I connected. And there we go. There's the Snobsoft. Okay, I'm gonna switch over to the Commodore. The red light is on, that means I have a connection. Aha! It's working. Oops, it is very slow. We're going to log in as my account, and once again, we're going to move over to ooh. Ah. Having trouble with the Commodore 64. Let me go back to the paper terminal. Okay, the next attempt. We managed to get in via this paper terminal. I'm covering the data on here for privacy sake, and I was able to get in through to the Commodore, but I had a really hard time when I was typing to get through for some reason. So we're gonna try again, and we'll see what happens again, and we'll give it a shot.
Meanwhile, 4,000 miles away on the other side of the world, I eagerly wait for Mikey's next attempt. There he is. Connect. Gandalf reliably loads the Snobsoft intro. Okay, go for it, Mikey. Transmitting data over such a distant phone connection is proving to be tedious and challenging, at least on Mikey's end. Talking about Mikey, let's switch back to him.
Does not like all right, we're gonna try again. Okay, I'm going to try to switch back over to the paper terminal. It looks like I'm okay. Says I'm online. Says I have a carrier. There we go. I am in. All right, I'm going to turn the camera away for a moment to enter my login data. Okay, looks like it doesn't like the paper terminal either in terms of entering data. Maybe if I tried one more time, we can have actually some communication. So we're going to shut the video off. We're going to disconnect and we're going to try one more time via the paper terminal only. So in desperation, I'm trying the acoustic coupler on this thing. And it seems to be working. At least on the receiving end. When we're done printing all this stuff, let's see if I'll be able to log in. Okay, let's try it. We're gonna turn the phone away. Does not want to take in any data at all. Hey. All right, one more time. We're going to go back to the Commodore. Switch over. Okay, we are switched over to the Commodore. Let's see. One more time. Seems like I'm doing better.
Yes. Now just the password needs to be correct.
Success! I am in. Hi. Let me just all right. Group's back here. Let's see if I can post a message. Come on. Ah. It is very difficult to type. There must be a long latency. Okay, excellent. Ah. There's some data errors. But I'm going to it is you kind of get used to how much
Meanwhile, I'm following along in Hamburg, captivated as Mikey enters his message into the BBS all the way from distant Ohio. He has to type very slowly to keep the number of transmission errors low. Though, I find the actual stability of the connection impressively good. By that, I mean that throughout all our attempts, we haven't had a single disconnect. Sure, The upload quality, if you can call it that, from the USA could be better. But the issues likely stem from all the modern VoIP stuff that comes with the internet's fiber-optic era. We, I think I can speak for Mikey here too, are just thrilled that this worked at all, using this 40-year-old analog modem technology across continents. Speaking of continents, I'm wondering what Mikey's phone bill must look like by now. Checking the system time in the top right, it's 6:30 a.m. here, which means it's 12:30 a.m. in Ohio. Aside from the phone costs, though, everything seems to be running smoothly on Mikey's end. He told me he's a true night owl. And speaking of endurance, I want to thank everyone who has stuck around for so long. I'll pick up the pace a bit now since the video has become unusually long. For the average YouTube viewer's attention span, this is practically an eternity of runtime. Yes, and as mentioned earlier, typing is still quite a challenge for Mikey, as he's just now writing.
And now we save. And we are in. We did it. We succeeded. We were able to connect overseas via a phone line, Commodore 64 to Commodore 64 with the help of a paper terminal and some good old BBS know-how. So this is Mikey from Party Bowl BBS signing off. Excited that we made history today with the farthest connection via phone line to Snobsoft in Snobsoft history. Aha! Wait. Are we getting a message? From our friendly sysop. We did problem is there's no buffer on the keys. Maybe that's off.
We continued chatting for quite a while about topics like the modem we were using or the recordings we were making. I also had a hard time typing since, lying on the floor, I didn't want to block the screen. Other topics included the fact that Snobsoft Christian actually doesn't live too far from Mikey today, namely in Michigan. By the way, Mikey's camera had already given up the ghost during our almost hour-long session, and my DJI Pocket was also about to shut down due to a lack of power. And the phone costs for this intercontinental connection were slowly reaching the red zone. So it was about time to say goodbye. As expected, my main camera had also called it quits, and I just managed to film with my smartphone as Mikey logged out of the BBS in an exemplary manner. Sorry that the image quality isn't quite optimal this time, and the crooked frame will be corrected shortly. Now the BBS has hung up and the 4,000-mile connection has been cut. You can recognize this by the NC for no carrier in the bottom row of the Snobsoft screen, and by the fact that CD for carrier detect on the modem has turned off. And while I'm still quickly trying to tame the tripod with the camera alignment, the BBS is currently saving Mikey's posting. This can also be recognized by the red light on drive 8, which indicates that data is being written to the disk. After a few more steps, which I'll skip for now, the BBS cheerfully returns to waiting for call, initializing the modem and eagerly anticipating its next online adventure. Thank you so much, Mikey, for this amazing session and your fantastic footage. Without you, this video wouldn't have been possible. And another big thank you to all my loyal viewers who have stuck with me for so long through this exceptionally long video. I hope you all had some fun with our attempt at this old-school long-distance telephone BBS call. I was especially delighted with the overwhelming response to my Vandal video. Feel free to comment under the video what you'd like to see next. I'm open to all topic suggestions. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the video, feel free to leave a like or subscribe. Also, don't hesitate to leave a comment. Share the video or recommend it to others.
Yeah, the screen lights up, light it up. The lines are buzzing, it's the place to be. Dial in with the touch of dial.